Alright, guys, theory and theology. So, this single day Ramadan experience, I know it's not a lot. I know it's not, um, you know, um, I don't even think I'm doing it right. But I'll just talk about my experiences so far. At the moment, it is 7:13 a.m. Monday morning, the day before the last day of Ramadan, because Tuesday is the last day. And so last night I listened to the prayer, watched the video, and I was like, I don't know if I could do the Muslim prayer, because there's a part of it that says about Muhammad being the prophet. I don't know that for sure. I mean, there's a lot that I don't know for sure, but I don't think I want to commit that to prayer. But I just kind of read through as somebody else kind of like had the prayer. I didn't do the part where it said to read a verse of the Quran. And I didn't do the kneeling, the bowing. Like, this is like while I was laying in bed, like a little before 10 p.m. Sunday night, after I recorded the episode saying that I'm going to try this out. And so I went to sleep. I was really cold when I went to sleep for some reason. I don't know why. Who knows? Could have been anything. But I warmed up. And then got up at like I think I took some melatonin around 9:30. Got up around 4 something and started thinking about it a little bit, because I think last night I didn't sleep early. I was listening to the Surah 9. I think I finished listening to that. So after 10:30, I was still up, and it's 10:30 p.m. I was still up, so I was like, man. So I had my alarm set at like 6 a.m. And sometime, I don't remember if it was before I fell asleep or the first time I woke up around 4 or something for the bathroom, I turned off that 6 a.m. alarm consciously. I was consciously doing this. I turned it off because I was like, I'm probably going to wake up early anyways, so let me just not have the alarm on. And then I started thinking, I don't really know if I'm going to be able to do the cooking at like 6 a.m. and then eating at 6:30 a.m. I kind of doubted the process of it all. And so now that it's past 7, so when I was up around 4, I was like, well, it's early. It was almost 5. Let's call it 4:45 a.m. I was like, it's pretty early. Let me just do this prayer. And so I told myself I was going to do it, but I think I fell back to sleep. I don't think I really did it. And then, because I was like, well, I can do it, maybe not at sunrise, but let me at least get the prayer in like before sunrise. I don't know if that's allowed. I don't really know. I still need to read into it. And then, I wake up again. It's like 6 a.m. or so. And I'm like, okay, so I woke up around the time where my alarm was set, but the alarm, of course, I turned it off. And so I'm trying to make this decision, and I'm kind of like dozing in and out. It's 6:15 a.m. and I'm like, at least I can make the prayer at 6:30. I open my phone and go on Instagram, And I'm like, I got 15 minutes. And next thing I know, it's 6:33 a.m. So now the 6:30 a.m. time is gone, so I'm clearly not going to make the eating before sunrise, because I'm not even up yet. I didn't even make the prayer because I was on the app, just screwing around, just looking around at Facebook and stuff, and Instagram. I'm hardly ever on Facebook, but I was on there because I was thinking about that Muslim friend I grew up with, and I was like, let me just see what he's been up to for the last decade or whatever. And then I was kind of like, okay, so this, I can see where I've consciously made some decisions. Last night, before I went to sleep, though, I was watching some YouTube video and came across, how they have like sponsorships. I was watching some video where they had a sponsorship about this app called Opal, where you can shut off different apps. And I was thinking, I've talked about wanting to do like internet adjustment, screen time adjustment hobbies, or screen time adjustment projects. And so this, at the very least from this, I'm learning a lot, but I'd say on the surface, the first thing I'm learning is, I wouldn't have probably missed the prayer time if I wasn't on Instagram. I missed it by 3 minutes, 6:33 a.m. Now I know the call to prayer goes for a while, and I don't know if people start praying at the call to prayer or if they wait. Like, I don't really know the tradition. But, I'm studying it. I'm like, okay, I'm kind of on a crunch time because the holiday's ending. But I'm thinking 1 p.m. today is probably going to be like the hardest time. I'm going to try and eat. I haven't eaten yet. I'm honestly drinking coffee now, a bulletproof coffee that usually holds me for a while. I should at least be able to get through the interview at 9:30, get some work done out doing deliveries. But by the time I come home in the late afternoon, I think it's going to be a struggle. But I don't want to like doubt it. I don't want to like put negativity into it. So I'm trying not to do that. But I did have a little anxiety around like 4 a.m. I think that's, why I'm not doing this right. Because I was up, and I thought about it and I was like, oh, well, what about my blood sugar? I had mentioned that last night. What about my blood sugar? What about if I get like some kind of PMS symptoms, or what if I get, irritable? I read something about people saying, refraining from anger. And I'm like, dude, like that's the hardest thing to refrain from when you're like hungry. But I mean, so far I'm liking the challenge of this. I mean, I know people aren't using it as like a challenge and like I'm not trying to take it that way. I know it is like a spiritual thing. Like everything is going to be spiritually connected. But I'm trying to learn about myself, even within a day. And I think I'll extend this to the Tuesday, just for the process of it. And just one weird note. I mean, I've got water boiling on the stove. One weird note. I don't know if this has any significance. I have no clue. But it's kind of funny with the timing. Because, let me see. I used the microwave last night before I even recorded the episode about Ramadan or anything whatsoever. I used the microwave yesterday. I don't know what time it was. Let's call it 5 p.m. I don't really know. Well, my mom was still on the phone, so let's call it like 4:30 p.m. My mom was talking to her family, and I used the microwave to reheat some leftover Indian takeout from Saturday night, from our Saturday family dinner. That we didn't really have the meal together, but we had the meal at the table, but we were all in our own separate spaces eating. So I eat it, last night. So I know the microwave worked last night. This morning when I wake up, I'm putting hot water in a cup. And usually what I do when I make the bulletproof coffee, I put the hot water in the cup and then put the hot water in the microwave for like 40 seconds. And I open the microwave and I'm like, that's weird, the light's not on. You know, because when you open it, the light comes on. And I'm like, the light's not on. And so I start pressing the buttons, nothing works. I unplug it, plug it back in, nothing works. I unplug it, put it in a different outlet, nothing works. So I think the microwave's broken, or maybe it shorted out. Maybe it happened with my heater being on for a little while when I woke up at like 4 something a.m. I have no idea. I have no idea. All I know is that it worked for my dinner time Sunday night. And by Monday morning, it's not working. And I'm like, okay, whatever. The microwave's probably broken. I go over to the fridge. I guess I'm getting butter out to put in the bulletproof coffee, because I'm like, let's see if it just melts with the hot water from the sink, because our hot water gets pretty hot. So I'm like, it'll probably melt the coconut oil and the butter anyways, which it did for the most part. So I didn't need the microwave, but I'm like, open the fridge, the light in the fridge is out, and I'm like, I think the fridge is out. Like, I think something shorted out. But I try the lights in the kitchen work, the stove works, the oven works. We have an induction burner stove, not gas, so it's electric. The lights all work in the dining area, in the hallway. Everything else seems to work. And I did my laundry late last night. I think I was doing laundry at like 8 p.m. So it's possible maybe the heater, or maybe the laundry machine, the washer, maybe something shorted out the fridge and the microwave. But it's just interesting to me that it's related to food. The two things that are kind of related to food, but I can still cook because I still have the oven and I still have the stove. But the timing of it, I'm not gonna lie, it's kind of spooky. I hope we can get at least the fridge fixed. Like, we don't really need the microwave. We actually have an extra microwave. When I was cleaning out the garage in December when I got injured, cleaning, because I pulled a muscle, I found an unopened microwave. Like, it's still in the box, taped up, and so I think it's new, never been used to my knowledge, so we might need a new microwave. As far as the fridge, I don't really know. I hope it's okay. I hope we can get it fixed if that's what needs to happen. But I'm going to get through this interview first, because there's nothing I can do about it, and I don't want to wake up my mom and tell her there's nothing she can do about it. So, unless it's like a breaker issue, I'm going to see if that might be it. I'll look into that around 10 a.m. But right now, I just think it's weird. I think the timing is weird. I'm very much into these types of connections to things. Like, when something weird happens, I don't completely, like, I'm not gonna, like, lean into it so much and be like, oh, this is like some weird thing. But it is weird. We haven't had any notable issues with any of this stuff, and all the other power in the house that I've tested out works, except for the microwave and the fridge. And they are related to food, and it is kind of weird because I did use them within the last 12 hours. They were working fine to my knowledge. I don't remember seeing or hearing any issues. So I don't know. I hope we can get it up and running, but because I don't want to lose all the food in the fridge. I don't care about the microwave as much, even though it's an inconvenience. But I need to go finish up what I'm doing, try to get a meal in, and see if I can make it till 7:20 p.m. I'll try and record at the prayer times or near the prayer times. I think the noon, where I said noon, I think I got that wrong. So I'm going to look into the actual prayer times for today. I didn't really know what prayer to say, so eventually I just said the Lord's Prayer, because I was like, but I was having trouble focusing on any kind of just organic prayer. I was like, I don't understand, I tried a couple times before 6:30 and before 6:15 or so when I got on my phone, but now I want to try that Opal app to see if I can adjust, my screen time. So I'm putting that on my schedule to kind of like figure out what I need my screen time to actually look like. Because I do need to use Uber Eats app to deliver, and I do need to read online and I need to do other stuff, but I don't really need to watch a bunch of YouTube. Even though I get a lot of education from it, I think it would be good to at least focus a lot of today on this experience as well as just like the stuff I need to get done. But I just that 30 minute, that extra 15 to 18 minutes where I just missed the prayer time. I mean, I'm like, in my head, I was like, oh, I can go online for like 15 minutes. And I was like, oh, it's probably been like 5-10 minutes. And then I look at my phone, it's like, it's already been past 6:30. That was a little shocking to me. I'm not disappointed. It's just, I'm happy I got this coffee, but I'm probably going to end up starting my meal a little after 7:30 a.m., which is an hour after I should have already stopped eating, because the time was 6:30 a.m. to stop, because that's the sunrise, and it's now 7:30 a.m. So I'm going to try to get a meal in, and then I guess the next time I'll record is whatever the near noon time is. I'm going to figure out what that timing is and put the times in correctly in my timer and my alarms that I set. I'm going to reset them all to the right ones and see what the accurate times are. I know they have apps for the prayer times, but I don't really know if I want that. We'll see. Excuse me. Wow. Kind of sneezed and coughed at the same time. But let me get on with this, because I'm getting later and later and later. This coffee's got me wired. I only drank half of it so far, and I'm like wired. And so my energy's where I want it to be all of a sudden. But I don't know. I'm excited about this. This is probably one of the more exciting things I've done in a long time. I think I need to take on more projects and test out more stuff. But I don't know. What do you guys think about the microwave and the fridge thing? Do you think it's a coincidence? Do you think it's something relevant? I did have some dreams. I'll talk about those dreams later on. I don't know if they're significant, but I'm going to try and write them down before I forget. But I do have to go, guys, for now. And I'll keep recording. I'll post an update. And I'll post all the updates together back to back. So right now it's 7:31 a.m. I'm starting really late with everything. But I did wake up early enough to actually do all of this. That's kind of what I'm trying to get across, that I did wake up technically early enough without my alarm to actually do this. It was a conscious decision to push things back late, to not wake up and cook, to not, I don't know, I tried the praying, kind of. I tried it early, didn't really hit the mark, and then missed it and was late. I just wasn't focused. So it might be more than that too, but just on the surface, I wasn't focused. But alright, guys, I'll be back and record more about this experience. Alright, guys, so I'm just driving for this Ramadan experiment and experience. So I looked up the prayer times. There seems, I'm on my way to the 99-cent store because it's closing out here in LA. But yeah, I was looking up the prayer times. I saw that it seems like there's a little bit of like, okay, is it 3 times or 5 times? Different groups disagree. And because when I didn't read it out of the Quran. I read it off of like a blog post or something, some kind of website initially, where it's like, where it said the times. I think it said the times that I had mentioned before. The, sunrise. I mean, I think I missed the before sunrise. So I put it as sunrise noon, afternoon, sunset, and before bed. And then I think maybe it was supposed to be before sunrise, at sunrise. I don't know. Like, maybe the one that was afternoon is not supposed to be afternoon. Maybe it's supposed to be noon and then sunset and then before bed. I don't really know. Like, I'm new to this. It's not like I know. I'm so I was like curious about it, and I'm like, let me see what's the difference between the what the Quran says, and because is it in the Quran that says specifically like what times? Because the way I had understood it, and then when I looked up the like timetable, I saw that it was like a little different. So I noticed, like, for example, my sundown time today is 7:20 p.m. and it said 7:19 p.m. Was the sundown prayer. And then for sunrise, I know sunrise today was 6:30 a.m. and it said 6:29 a.m. is the prayer for the sunrise. So, and then I saw the one that was like 5 something in the morning, and I'm like, oh my goodness. And so I'm wondering if it's similar to in Judaism, how, they have like a different time. Like, even if the Bible says like evening and morning or whatever, they kind of have like a buffer. I don't know if that's what's going on, or maybe if they consider the call to prayer. And then I was like, well, maybe it's like tradition. Are these times being chosen as like tradition versus like the exact times? Or was I looking at like a different timetable that's not specifically for my area? Because it was like a minute off. It wasn't like it was like an hour different. And so I'm just curious, because I don't really know. It's not like something that I have like a common knowledge about, like what happens, why people choose things in the way that they do. But I remember that I did read somewhere about that some of the pillars, I don't know if it was some of the pillars or some of the traditions of Islam aren't in the Quran. I think it was like some of the traditions that people are taught to do aren't in the Quran. And it's kind of an interesting thing for me with religions in general, how it's like, as an outsider, I mean, I don't really have too outsider of a perspective with Christianity, because I was raised in it. So unless it's like different denominations like Jehovah's Witness or like Hebrew Israelites, or like groups that are like very, very like different from others, or like Mormons, I don't even know if Mormons are even Christians. I guess they are. Or would Jehovah's Witnesses be considered Christians because they don't believe that Jesus is divine? Like, do you have to believe the divine part? I don't really know. Because then it's like, I feel like, okay, and I might have to make a different episode on this, but if you believe in Jesus, like Muslims believe in Jesus, that he existed, do they believe he's the Messiah? I can't recall. But they believe in him. They just don't believe in the divinity. They believe that he was a prophet. And there are Christian groups that don't believe in the divinity of Jesus. So aren't those two different religions? Like the religions that are worshiping Jesus and then the ones that are not worshiping Jesus. I feel like that's a big difference, because it's almost like you have a different God happening. Like, I know the Christian, I don't know of any Christian group that worships Jesus and says that there's no Trinity. I don't know if that exists. Maybe it does, but I've never heard of it. But if that exists, I feel like, okay, then you're certainly worshiping not just a monotheistic God, you're worshiping some other thing. You're worshiping a separate entity as well, whether that's a man or a prophet or a messiah or a rabbi or whoever it is that they would believe Jesus to be. He would be getting worshipped. And am I wrong? Like, is that wrong? Is that wrong to say that it's maybe a separate religion? Because I'm trying to think, say if you believe in Christianity, but you just don't believe that Jesus is divine, then are you closer to being Muslim or closer to being Christian? And if you don't believe that Muhammad is a prophet, I think that's a big piece of Islam. You have to believe that Muhammad is a prophet as well. But if you don't believe that Muhammad is a prophet, but you believe in Jesus, I mean, I feel like, and believe in Jesus as a non-divine person or prophet or whatever label, but just non-divine, I feel like that's a different religion. So I feel like maybe Jehovah's Witnesses and Muslims and I forgot the name of that other group. There's another group that doesn't believe that Jesus is divine, I think, but I forgot what they're called. But I don't know, guys. What do you think? I'm about to get where I'm going here to this 99-cent store, but I'm just having some curiosities coming up because I am noticing about the tradition aspect. It's like in Christianity, there is that also where there's the divine aspect of things, where it's like, okay, like, you're not divine. I mean, I don't know, the belief in divinity is kind of like a different conversation. I don't know if I can park here, but yeah, the belief in the divinity aspect, I don't know, maybe I'm reading into this too much, but it seems to me like it's like a whole different conversation, possibly. And then the belief of traditions in general. So what's the difference between traditions and religion? And reading from the scripture, the Quran scripture, if I'm just interpreting it the way that it says, am I getting the same impression from the Quran as I am from, is it the same impression from reading the Quran from, exactly what is listed online for these prayer times? Like I said before, I read it and it said those times that I mentioned, and I still maybe made some mistakes on it, but I'm gonna post the link of what I found, and it says, this is from myislam.org. It says, is it 3 or 5 prayers according to the Quran? It says in the Quran there is no direct naming of 5 of the 5 prayers. It does not say pray, I don't know how to pronounce these, Fajr, Zuhr, Asr, Maghrib, and Isha Salah. It doesn't say that anywhere explicitly. There's differences between the two sides, 3 versus 5 prayers. It says that you can find in Surah Nur, N-U-R, it says before the dawn prayer, and when you put aside your clothing at noon, and after the night prayer. And it says the Shiites would interpret that as 3 daily prayers, but the Sunnis would say that it's 5, I guess. So people say dawn, noon, which should be Zuhr and Asr, and then night, Maghrib and Isha. So dawn is the Fajr. So there's 2 different denominations of... Someone told me they were denominations. I don't know if they are. I don't really know. but someone I knew before told me that those were denominations. So 2 different denominations saying those things. So Shiites and Sunnis have a difference in the 3 or 5 prayers. So in Noor, I don't know where to find that, but I want to look it up. So if it's saying that the prayers are before the dawn prayer, so does that mean that there's a dawn prayer and then one before the dawn? And then when you put aside your clothing for rest at noon, I mean, that's a different culture. Like, I know a lot of cultures have like this afternoon siesta type situation. In the U.S., we kind of just work straight through. We have lunch breaks, but we don't really stop. So at noon, and then after the night prayer. So there's a night prayer, and then after the night prayer. So some people are reading that as 3. Some people are reading that as before dawn, noon, after the night, and at night. So I don't know. But I wasn't really expecting to kind of try to even dive into something like this. I wasn't expecting to kind of even look at it or consider it or have anything like this come up. People are flocking to this 99-cent store. Let me get on in there, because it seems like it's getting busier and busier. So let me start getting in. And I just need to buy a few things if they even have them. And then let's move on with today. But I don't know. That came up when I was trying to like put my calendar, my timers on. So I just kept the timers like I left them, because I was like, I don't really know the difference between what this other website puts as the timetables versus what I interpreted it as when I read about it in the first place. So that's that. And I'm gonna leave that where it is, and I'll record more when I have more things to talk about. And we did fix the fridge. I think it was a breaker. The microwave might have shut them both off. It looks like the microwave maybe isn't working, but we do have an extra microwave, so it's not going to be a permanent issue, at least. But it's still weird, considering that I don't remember that ever happening before, and just how it's timed with, this Ramadan situation. It's weird timing. I talked about this a few days, I guess like a week or 2 ago, about weird experiences. This is going to be one of those to add to the list. But I haven't had time to really think about much. I just did an interview and then got dressed in some different clothes to just comfortably go out and like get some deliveries done and stuff. I can already feel myself kind of wanting to drink water. I have water kind of all around me. And I've got a granola bar in here with me too. We'll see. Let's see. I woke up with a headache, strangely, but I didn't have one once I ate and had my coffee and stuff. I felt fine after that, but it's slowly creeping. It's slowly creeping in. So let me get on with what I gotta do. While I still have energy to do things, let me just do what I'm gonna do, and then I'll post to y'all in a while if anything else comes up along the route. Alright guys, so this is the recording talking about the noon prayer and the afternoon prayer. I'm giving a little disclaimer because there's some topics about menstruation, menstrual periods, cramps. If you don't want to hear about that, then skip the next 27 minutes and then you'll be done with it. So from about this 40 seconds, skip 27 minutes. Alright guys, 4:07 p.m. So I just did I don't know what number prayer this is. I'm like losing track of time. Like the third, fourth one? No. Let me look. So it's technically my third, I guess, but the fourth. I've got oh my goodness. I'm a mess. All right. I think I've got like 6 prayers on here. I don't know what 8:30 p.m. is. What's 8:30 p.m.? Anyways, I'm gonna put 4:02 p.m. because that's about the time that I was doing this. Okay. So, full transparency, I did end up breaking the fast, and not necessarily because I wanted to or felt like I need to. I was actually more thirsty than hungry, and I decided I will try again tomorrow. But basically, I was getting, maybe this is TMI. If you don't want to hear this, just maybe shut this off, because I don't know, if you don't like hearing about menstrual cycles and periods and things, you probably don't want to listen. But if you don't care, I don't care. It's nature. I don't really care talking about it. But basically, I was starting to get really bad cramps at about 2 p.m. and it was getting worse and worse. So at about 3:14 p.m., I had some water and broke the fast. I ate some pasta, and at about 4 or so, I started realizing I'm feeling like significantly better. But pretty much what I've been doing before this. So I did a recording when I was, I guess, on my way to the 99-cent store shopping, getting some household necessities. Spent about $15 on a couple packages of washcloths for my bathroom and my parents' bathroom. Got some cookware, just some basic stuff, because we've been needing like a plastic flat spatula, because I've been using the wooden ones with my eggs and they're not. I'm like, okay, we need a plastic one. And then I was looking for a knife sharpener, didn't find one, so I ended up just getting a few, like 3 knives, because we don't have any sharp knives. Our knives are like dull. We have knives that we've had, like, I think some of our oldest knives, we've had them for at least 10 years. I think almost all of them. And we've never sharpened them once. And so, that'll tell you a lot. So, it's been an interesting day. I'm actually slightly disappointed. I broke the fast, but I was like, I don't really want to be in pain for like 5 plus hours, because that wasn't my intention, because I dealt with that pretty much all yesterday, and I wasn't trying to have a whole day of that today. But after I drove back from the 99-cent store, I got back in time for, I think the eclipse in our area was 11:11 a.m. and it kind of looked like I was driving through like a slightly tinted window. That's kind of how it felt when I was driving. We didn't get a full eclipse here in LA. We got like, it's partial, but you could definitely tell the difference. So I came back, used the bathroom, dropped off the stuff because my mom does YouTube haul videos, a lot of like not cooking, but food haul videos. And so I figured since we got some cooking supplies and it was 99-cent store and they're going out of business, she would want to post about it. I only spent like $15-ish, so it was her $15-ish. She gave me like a 20 to go get some stuff, so, and we got some deodorants too. So I took a couple pictures for her, and then of some of the empty aisles, and came back, dropped off the stuff, took a picture of the eclipse, went back out. I was gonna go do deliveries, and I felt a little like maybe a little uncomfortable with the fog, the brain fog with the driving. I wasn't fully foggy, but partially foggy, like not feeling like I wanted to drive. But I went to the library. I got there, let me see, I left the house, the eclipse was at 11:11. Let's say I got to the library a little near like 11:30 or so, and there were a couple people outside, a homeless dude, and we got kind of talking. I might record on what he was talking about in a different episode, but we were talking for like maybe 20-30 minutes outside about the economy, politicians, just kind of like living in different places in LA and the opportunities and the cost of everything and how things aren't affordable and the direction things are going. And I was surprised how social I felt, and usually I'm annoyed with people, and it was nice talking to him. I actually valued that because I was like, well, once the library opens, we'll just go in. And I was like, what am I gonna do, sit here? I probably would have just sat there, turned YouTube on my phone, and got on with it. So when I got in the library, I looked up some books I was gonna look at a Quran, and then I was like, let me see if I can log into my blog and put up an episode. So I put up an article. So I put up a rough article. It took me a little over an hour to write it. Just kind of about my experience. Some of it's overlap, but a lot of it's kind of like more questions about like the situation with the fridge and the microwave, like why did that happen, what's going on with that, and kind of processing maybe the limitations of my mindset and my mindset with like fasting and things like that, and like the time scheduling of everything. I want to dive deeper into that, but I won't do that right now either. But yeah, I stayed there till about 1:45. Got some books. So I didn't end up with an actual Quran, but I got a book. It's by Farid Isaak. So first name Farid, last name Esack. Farid Isaak. It's called The Quran, a User's Guide. And then I got a book called Mythology of the North American Indian and Inuit Nations, Myths and Legends of North America, by Brian L. Molyneux, Molyneaux. And then I got a book called Hawaiian Religion and Magic by Scott Cunningham. Cunningham, Cunningham. And so You know, if I would have found a Quran that was a smaller size and had the Arabic, I probably would have picked it up. But they were larger size, and when I saw where Surah 11 was located and how, you know, Ramadan's ending tomorrow on Tuesday, I felt like, you know, I'm really not gonna I'm really probably not gonna you know, actually realistically read this in English. And so I put it back. I saw I Ching, I saw some other books that I wanted to get, and these were the ones I kind of looked at and quickly kind of settled into them. I've lost track of how many prayers I need to do. Oh, so before I went into the library, because it opened at noon, while I was outside talking to that guy at noon, like right when they actually opened the library, right when they opened the library at noon, sorry, I just zoned out for a second, like my alarm went off when I was like outside talking to him, because I set all these alarms, remember? So that was kind of interesting. I was like, oh, like my alarm went off. And then it was kind of interesting because I was like, I don't think I would have remembered that there was going to be a prayer time around that time. So once I got in, I did the prayer. I think I did the prayer. Let's call it about 7 to 9 minutes after noon. I'm putting in my notes, I did it 7 to 9 minutes late, but it was 7 to 9 minutes after noon, not after the 12:55 time that they had listed on the website timetable. It was like 12:07 or 12:09. I think I thought about it at 12:07, and then I got distracted. Then I was like at 12:09, okay. And then once I actually got home, let's call it near 2 o'clock, I was like, I'm just gonna relax, lay down. But I started noticing like the cramps coming in, and then I laid down and it was getting worse and worse and worse. And then like at 3:14, I was like, because I've been reading, at about 2, I was like, well, what do women do when they have cramps or when they're menstruating or whatever? And I guess it said, and I don't know if this is in the Quran or if this is a tradition, but it said for the fasting, you know, if women start bleeding before the fasting time, then they're not expected to fast until afterwards, and then they make up the days. So once Ramadan ends, say like tomorrow sundown, when Ramadan ends on Tuesday night, they would keep going for the days that they missed. And then I think some people said like if your period starts when you're already in, like when the fasting already has started, you know, so say if it's like 8 a.m., the fasting already started at like 6:30 a.m. I mean, you could still fast, I guess, but I don't know if it's like you have to or you can break it. I was trying to look up fasting, and it kept having other health information in there, like mixed in, so I couldn't tell what was talking about Ramadan and what was just like, you know, PubMed or like some kind of doctor's advice or something. But people say like know your own body, it doesn't really matter. Some people say intermittent fasting can be helpful. I know for myself, when I'm deprived of food, it does feel a lot worse. and I guess I'm on some injection health-wise, and so nothing is even predictable anymore. So I'm just kind of like I don't even know how long it lasts anymore, or when it's gonna start, or when it's over. Like, I had nothing going on this morning. Like, everything was fine pretty much till I was like sometime while I was in the library, it was starting. So I don't even know, I didn't know if it was gonna come back today or if it was completely over for the week. Like, I can't predict it anymore because of this injection. So I don't know what people do in those situations, but it was something that had crossed my mind yesterday when I was thinking about blood sugar, and I was also thinking about this yesterday. I kind of slightly mentioned it when I said like PMS symptoms and stuff like that. So I think there's 2 more prayers. The sundown at like 7:19, and then they say before bedtime. On the website it's 8:30 p.m. So on my notes, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna have the sundown times that they actually listed on a website, and then I'm gonna actually have in parentheses the times that I did the prayer or my experience with the prayer. This 4:02 p.m. prayer that I just did, I did the Lord's Prayer and the Shema. I don't know what I'm supposed to even say. And then the one at the library, I think it was the Lord's Prayer. When I broke the fast, I just did like a thank you for this food kind of thing. I think I didn't really do like any kind of traditional prayer. But I've got 2 more prayer times. My alarms are set. Let me unset this other alarm. I think, the one for 4:32 p.m. I'm gonna unset that one. I'm all over the place. Okay, so the next alarm I have set is 7:20 p.m. and then 9 p.m. I think I'm gonna keep my alarms. I don't know what I want to do. Because I feel like the only reason I was changing any of them was because I went on that website. If I just read kind of what I read as far as the prayer times, when they just talk about that general information, when there's no specifics tied to it, as someone who's not of the religion, and I'm just reading it and it says dawn or sunset or whatever, it's like I'm basically just putting the times that I have access to without a website. And then when I went on the website, it kind of told me different things like I was talking about earlier. So I'm just gonna keep them like I have them, because I don't see any harm in it. I mean, I'm not Muslim. I'm not doing it exactly like a Muslim would do. But I'm trying to experience this somehow, some way. But I am slightly bummed about having to break the fast, because I wanted to see if I could actually do it. I really think being thirsty was more obvious. And my feet were really cold. My feet are finally warmed up now. Finally, after like hours. They've been cold for like almost 2.5 hours, and I'm barely noticing. It's like 4:27 p.m. right now. So they've been cold for at least 2 hours and 20 minutes of my feet being freezing cold. Like, I have this heat pack that I use for my back, and my back was hurting sitting at the library on the chairs. But then when I got home, I kind of put the heat on my back, and then after putting it on my back, I put it on my feet, and my feet didn't even really warm up. So I think eating helped with circulation, Maybe I get a circulation issue when I don't eat. I don't really know. I mean, it's not like I never go that long without eating, you know. Like, I usually eat on time, but in all honesty, I ate breakfast late. Like, I was eating around, like, 8:30, something like around there. And then, like I just mentioned, I ate around 3:14 p.m., breaking the fast. Early. I broke the fast early by like 4 hours. So I still have another opportunity tomorrow. And then I have opportunities to see if I can test it out at all when I don't have any kind of menstrual cycle issue going on. Because like it did say that you can do that, I guess. Traditionally, it's okay to do that. I could technically try it on 2 days when I'm not in that situation. But when those days will be, I can't really predict. Because today I thought, it wasn't really going on. And like I said, it's not predictable anymore. So I was like, am I in the clear? I don't know. And then once I was at the library, not even once I got in at noon, but closer to like 1 is when I started noticing it coming in. So I'm like, geez, So all this morning I was kind of in the clear. Even being up around like almost 5 something, 6 something, I was in the clear all morning. So, yeah, who knows? But yeah, I think the morning before was the same way. So it's kind of happening less in the mornings lately for longer, and then it just kind of pops up whenever later on in the day or afternoon or evening. Yesterday it was most of the day though, and I was cramping a lot. And then I think last night when I said I heated up the Indian food in the microwave, I noticed I felt a lot better after I ate. And so that's why today when the cramps were getting bad, I was like, let me just eat something. I tried the heat pad thing, but that actually made it way worse. So I was like, okay, let me just go eat. Like, I don't want to spend all day like this again. And then I guess we'll see. I don't really know. I might read some of these books. I might relax a little bit. I've been all over the place today, doing a lot of weird stuff, but none of what I've done today so far has been part of the plan. And when I went to break the fast, I made a plate of food, the leftover Indian food, because I've still got some left, and put it on a plate, put it in the microwave, and then I was like, oh, that's right. When I started pressing the buttons, I was like, that's right, the microwave doesn't work. But luckily, my mom had already made some pasta that I thought I was going to eat later. So I ended up eating the pasta at 3:14. But it did help. Like, mostly the cramps are like, I'd say the worst I ever had, if I say 100%, was during grad school. And I'll call like an average bad at 90%. It was probably at the 90%. And now they're probably like at like a 5%. Like, it's a little noticeable, but it's not like I can't even really fully say that they're there, not even in comparison, and that's less than an hour. Within less than an hour, it feels better. So it took like 45 minutes for it to feel quite a lot better. So I'm glad that is improved. But I do feel kind of more fatigued. I actually had more energy. Other than the cramps, I kind of had more energy. Like, I was surprised I was able to sit and write the article. If I wasn't having the back issues with sitting in the chair and then the whole bleeding situation going on, I probably would have stayed at the library longer because I had nothing else to do. I was like, what else am I going to do? Go home and do what? Nothing, or do something at home. But usually I would leave because I'm hungry and I want to go make lunch or whatever. And I was like, well, I don't need to make lunch, so why do I need to leave? Like, realistically, there was no other reason to leave other than that situation. And that I didn't know if it was going to get bad, but as far as the cramping, but I did know there was potential for it to get bad. So, all right, guys. So, I'm gonna put a disclaimer at the beginning of this segment for people who don't like hearing about cramps, because I know I can't just assume that people want to hear about it. I mean, I don't usually talk about it, but it's like, whatever. I mean, if it wasn't relevant to this fasting situation, I wouldn't be mentioning it at all. But because it's related, I'm mentioning it. And so, yeah. It looks like we're about 27 minutes in. 26:45. Okay, let me make it an even 27. So, yeah, I'm just trying to still do this. Alright, guys, so end of day 1, which is actually like day 29 in reality, of my first Ramadan experience with the fasting and the praying. So I'm putting in the notes. I put the time on the timetable that I looked up online said 7:19 p.m. But in my area, the sunset time was actually 7:20 p.m. So I think I had originally set my timer to 7:20 p.m., but I actually said the prayer around 7:27 p.m. because I was finishing a shower when the alarm went off. I knew that was going to happen, though, because I jumped in the shower like 10 minutes beforehand, just kind of trying to do something timely, and because I just put my dinner in the oven because we don't have a microwave. So I was thinking, around 7:05 I put my dinner in the oven, and then around 7:10 I was preparing it to put it in the oven, and then around 7:10 jumped in the shower. So I knew I wasn't going to make the 7:19 or 7:20 time. I wasn't going to make the 7:20 timer, but I took the phone in the bathroom so that I could hear when the alarm went off. And I was pretty much at that point done showering, but had to kind of like put clothes on and dry off and stuff. And so it just took me a couple extra minutes till 7:27 to go and I decided, instead of just praying first, I went and got my food out of the oven. I should have just prayed first because it wasn't even fully warm yet. And then I kind of prepared to eat it. I did the prayer right before eating. I just did the Lord's Prayer and the 23rd Psalm. And then for the prayer before bedtime, I just did... the timetable said it was going to be at 8:30 p.m., but I just stuck to my original 9 p.m. alarm, and I didn't hit the 9 p.m. alarm. I knew it was coming up, but like 2 or 3 minutes before, I decided to take a bathroom break and brush my teeth and, put some dishes away. And by the time I did that, it was 9:05 p.m., and so I just randomly opened the Bible to like Psalm 78 and read some of it. and then did the Shema again, and then that was basically it. And so I guess recap for today. In all honesty, today was probably one of the best days I've had in a really long time. It was exciting to try to do something new and practice something. It was a little bit of fumbling around because I didn't really, I decided this last night, like right before I went to sleep. So it's not like I was even planning to do it. There was a little bit of excitement with seeing some kind of situation come up that might have been relevant. Who knows? Might have been relevant, related to deciding to, partake a little bit in this journey. I mean, I didn't even do the full 30 days. I didn't read the Quran. I'm not even on 30 days. I didn't even do the first day that I'm trying it. Day 29, I didn't even do it right, for the reasons that I talked about earlier. So, I decided, I am going to try tomorrow. I honestly think the hardest thing, I don't know about the hard, I can't really say because I didn't really finish it, but I am predicting that the hardest thing is going to be waking up to try to cook early and eat early, because I don't eat that early. It's not even waking up that's the problem. Even if somebody says wake up at 5 in the morning, I mean, to be honest, I can wake up at 5 in the morning. I'm not saying it's not easy to do, but it's not like someone's like wake up at 5 and go to the gym at 5:15. It's like if somebody's like wake up and you're still home in the comfort of your own home, and they're like wake up and pray and then cook food and eat it. It's like, and then you can go back to bed even. It's like, and then there's a prayer coming at sunrise, but it's like, I don't know. It's not, I mean, I think, okay, I'll put it this way. If I had a super busy day planned tomorrow, which I know what I want to do tomorrow, but I'm playing it by ear with some of the busy things. Like deliveries, I can play that by ear. Any kind of busy related stuff, I have the flexibility to play it by ear. So it's not like today was different because I did have to consider the interview. So I think that made me a lot more nervous about trying to experiment with eating early and everything. And then I was worried that by 9:30 with the interview, I might not perform as well. But I did notice, I explained it, I think, before, and I've talked about this before, I think, that when I have coffee in the morning before breakfast, I have energy. I'm fine with my energy, but I know I need to eat. And so I eventually eat breakfast. I did have a habit before where I was waking up quite a bit earlier and having coffee quite a bit earlier in the morning. At least more than an hour before I ate breakfast, like an hour and a half, 2 hours before, and usually eating around 8:30. I think my brother actually eats breakfast at 6:30 though. But I'm curious about it because I'm I've always told myself, I've always been I don't want to get in the habit of having to wake up that early hungry, because it's I'm already up anyways pretty early, and I don't want to be hungry at that time, you know what I mean? I don't feel fully alert when I first wake up, but the coffee helps. And especially if I do a bulletproof coffee on an empty stomach and it's got mushrooms in it, not necessarily psilocybin, but to be honest, psilocybin too, but even without psilocybin, lionsmane, chaga, those are good. They help my positivity. They help my brain just, I feel more sociable. I feel more, socially energetic and less irritable, grumpy around people in the mornings. I don't really like to be around people at all in the mornings. And I definitely notice that helps tremendously. So it's a type of benefit that I've noticed. So having coffee and adding that type of something with it, and then making it a bulletproof coffee, energy wise it holds me. It's just I usually know I need to eat. It can hold me usually till probably almost 11, in all honesty. If I didn't want to eat early in the morning, or if I didn't have time to, I could drink a bulletproof coffee at like 6:30 and probably be good till 11, to be honest. But then I start feeling a little bit like I probably need to eat something. But other than that, usually I think the big difference is I don't eat that early. But I'm up and usually I have something in my stomach by 6:30 a.m., 7. It's been getting a little later because my sleep has been not so good for like quite a while now. I've been waking up like twice every night, so my sleep hasn't been very good. At least lately I've been waking up and then going back to sleep instead of waking up and staying up for like a few hours, because there were a few nights where I woke up and stayed up for like a few hours every night for like a week almost, maybe 2 weeks. I don't remember. I wrote it down somewhere, but I haven't like reviewed it recently because it's come and gone. Like I write it down in case I want to access the information, but I don't remember it. I just remember that happened. I was taking a different melatonin at the time. There was a lot of different stuff going on. I don't want to go into all of that. But, it wasn't like bad stuff. It was just, I have a different kind of regimen now compared to what I did then. And I guess another thing I noticed today was I don't really think, other than once I ate, I don't really think I had energy crashes. Like, other than the reason why I broke the fast, other than that, chronic pain related reason, which breaking the fast did help with the pain, but it didn't really help with my energy. Like, my energy, I feel like, was kind of like fine. It was just the pain was taking over. And I did have a sip of coffee around 5. I kind of lost track of, how do you say, like, I lost track of time today a little bit. Like, today just felt like everything was shifted because I broke fast around 3:14, 3:15 p.m. And so it felt like it was earlier because I almost always eat lunch before like 1:30. So that was almost my dinner time. Like, I eat dinner around like 4:30. And so that's why it's like, I was like, let me try to actually eat dinner then around the time where I would have broken the fast. If I was able to keep doing it adequately all day. But I saw a lot of movement today, I saw a lot of, I did things that I wouldn't have done. Like, I've been thinking about going to the library for quite a while. And like I said, my schedule's flexible, so I could have gone all the other times I wanted to. But today I was like, it was between driving and, the library. And I was like, I'd rather go to the library. And I'm thinking the same tomorrow. I don't really know where I'll go, but I'm kind of thinking about tomorrow. And I'm kind of considering that I don't want to go to, I don't know if I want to do deliveries. I want to make the money, but the reason why I'm saying that is because even on an average day when I'm sitting in the car I almost always get like a Wingstop delivery, and like those barbecue wings, you can smell it through the bag, or like pizza and like all the food, you can smell it. And so you can kind of almost, it, even when I usually drive around with water and granola bars. So even if I don't bring lunch, which when I do want to stay out late driving, I'll bring like a sandwich or something. It's very rare that I'm going to buy something, especially because I'm driving around my area. I can always just come home. But I know once I come home, I'm not going to want to go back out again. I very rarely go back out a second time. But if I don't bring like a sandwich or some extra snacks or something, I usually have a spare granola bar. And so, yeah, that'll really do. Because I'm not driving like all day long. It's just like enough, So, I like having a granola bar, and usually it kind of makes it so I can kind of stay out later. But and I'm starting to kind of second guess myself though about lunchtime, because my energy, I don't feel like it really dipped. It wasn't energy, it was pain. And it was pain that I don't know how to really describe the relationship of that pain to lack of food or water. I don't really fully understand it. I just know that the longer I go without eating, that kind of pain gets worse. And so eating usually resolves the issue. Not that it fully goes away all the time, but it definitely is better. And I noticed within like 45 minutes, it was definitely better. So I don't really know what's going to happen tomorrow. I mean, I can't predict any of it, but I guess I'm trying not to like feed into the anxiety of like the morning complication. I mean, the thing is, I don't have to go anywhere. I don't have to do anything. I can just stay in bed all day if I really wanted to. But to me, that feels like a wasted day. It feels like I'm not motivated to do that. So I feel like I'm almost not motivated to like wake up and screw up something early in the morning to make it so that I don't have energy. But if I take deliveries off the table, staying out isn't really an issue. I could stay out or stay in the house, but staying out isn't really an issue. If I don't have to come home for lunch because I'm not planning on really eating, I mean, I can technically stay out as long as I want to stay out. Just today was a different circumstance. I left for a specific reason, and I don't know if I'm going to have that same issue tomorrow. It's really not predictable. It's very likely. Kind of sucks, I'm not going to lie. But I might try. If it happens again tomorrow, I'm considering trying on another 1 or 2 days, the same kind of method, but just minus the pain situation that made me kind of need to leave and come home. And then eventually, once I realized the pain was getting worse, I was like, let me just eat something. And like I waited it out like over an hour, and it was definitely getting worse. And so I was like, man, that's just lame. But also traditionally, people that have that kind of situation going on aren't really expected to fast anyways, and they're expected to postpone their fast. So I'm not even really doing it right, because if I were technically following the tradition, I would be postponing my fast in the first place. I just really want to do it during the season. So even if I'm doing it wrong for those reasons, I'd rather try it, even though it's not working. I'd rather try it, because there's something about like timing. It almost feels like if you recorded or put like on your DVR recording the Super Bowl, and then like it's April now, and if I hadn't watched the Super Bowl, am I really gonna go back and watch it? Or like the Grammys, or like, I don't know, like the Thanksgiving parade or something. It's like things like that. There's like, you can record them because they're like fantastical in the holiday moment. But sometimes I feel like once you get away from the actual holiday, unless I'm like replacing another holiday, or like during another holiday doing these traditions, from the fasting and making up the fasting, unless I'm doing that, then kind of lost my train of thought. I took melatonin around 9:07 p.m. right when I started this recording. So I I think it's kicking in already, actually. But I'm trying to kind of think it through and like figure it out. I had a bit of a scattered day though. Like I didn't get to everything I wanted to get to. Today was a mess. Like I've never had a day like this. Like where I'm like, oh, I gotta pray again and again and again. Even the praying was kind of, the praying I did, I think the 2 early morning ones, all of them, I kind of missed the actual timing. But all of them, I kind of, I'm a little, I don't know if I want to say this. I'll say it, because it's how I'm thinking right now. But I feel like as a person who is not a Muslim person, if I read something in the Quran a certain way and I don't dive into like the tradition of it, I think I should follow it the way that I think I should follow it, and not according to what the tradition says. Because to me, I feel like that's going by what it says. So with the timetable thing, I think the times that I had already laid out for myself made sense to me. And I don't feel like I was like breaking any rules. Like where it says bedtime, they put 8:30 p.m. I put 9 p.m. because that's the time when I usually take my melatonin, and it's usually lights out. Just yesterday and then today I'm kind of recording. I don't usually record late at night. I usually record early in the morning. Like usually when you guys get recordings from me, if it's not on a weekend and I'm just kind of like deep diving into some kind of thing, it's going to be like with my morning coffee, I'm usually recording. And then usually I stop recording because I have to go eat breakfast, right? So it's like, usually it's morning. I don't want to plan too much though. I don't want to not plan, but I don't want to plan too much. But I think I'm going to keep the times. I already reset the timers, so I'm going to keep the times that I already feel like I want to have, the ones that I initially already planned for, because I don't see any reason not to. Other people might disagree, but I don't disagree. So I don't what would a plan look like for tomorrow? I think trying to get the prayers in, even if they're not on the dot, getting the prayers in. I think, I'm not being hard on myself, because, like, I didn't know what was going to happen. I decided this right before I went to sleep last night, so I didn't know what was going to happen, and I still haven't fully bought in, mostly because it just seems like it's so much to take on to disrupt my day, because I had other plans for this week, going into the weekend, but also it's like, what's one more day without some extra cash? Like, what's one more day, is this benefiting me? Yes, it is. If you see the blog post at Theory and Theology, while I was at the library writing it up, I already have come up with a lot of things that I would like to change. Now, some things, and I guess this will be my last point because I'm getting tired, I can tell. Some things I've heard about other people changing. I listened to a pretty cool video where this Scandinavian couple went to Saudi Arabia, and they got to sit and talk with some of the people who were there who were Muslims. They were not Muslim themselves, but they were speaking to others who were. And when they got into conversation with them about Ramadan, they kind of learned more. And I really liked hearing people talking about charity and giving. It wasn't even giving money. I'm sure there is money involved, but, seeing people giving out, like having like bags of food where they just give out food, or they just give out boxes of food, or the dates or the snacks or the waters, they're just giving them out to people freely. And it's not part of like a company thing or whatever. It's just like you see people handing them out to people breaking their fast. And that's a pretty special thing, I was kind of thinking about that, because I drive around a lot. I do deliveries, and, sometimes I pop into a liquor store or a store or some kind of place, gas station. I get gas a lot. And if I don't go to the usual spots, it's not uncommon for me to run across a homeless person or someone who is requesting money. And I kind of just, I don't really like throwing people money. But, I'm not trying to brag. I'm just saying the last time I saw someone was maybe a couple weeks ago. I see people a lot, but, like, someone within, like, reach, like, right there where I had something. I was driving. I was in a line of traffic on the sidewalk. I was driving, though, like, I was curbside, but driving in a line of traffic, and the light had turned green, and there was a lady who was begging with a sign, and she was walking on the sidewalk towards me because I was putting out the window like a granola bar, because I said I carry them in my car all the time, and I was putting it out the window for her, but she was like walking, and the light had turned green, so the person behind me was just like laying on the horn. And I was just, because she was like trying to offer me like a flower or something, because she was like exchanging flowers for like food or whatever, money. And I was like, how hard would it be for me at the end of the week, out of some of my earnings, because I've been wanting to give money or, whatever. And I was trying to think of something charitable. Like, how hard would it be for me to just, I carry a little cooler in my car. The stuff isn't going to stay cold or whatever, but it would stay, like, organized. How hard would it be for me just to put a couple extra waters and a couple extra granola bars maybe some chips, cookies, whatever, and just whenever I come across somebody who's asking for something in need, just give them a little something, because I'm driving past these people all the time. I mean, I don't want to get in a car crash or like make other people late or whatever, but I do want to at least consider what's right in front of my face, which isn't something hard. I mean, I know the 99-cent store's closing, so I can't do that, but Daiso's open. I mean, it wouldn't take that much money. I mean, even if I got like $10 worth of stuff, tea, sweet buns, they're individually packaged things, I could just give those out. It wouldn't be that hard. And I don't know, I don't think that would be too hard to do. And I could even eat it too, it's in there. But I'd rather do at least something like that. That's a simple thing I can do, because I come across people often, but usually I just kind of walk past, but I'm always going to my car or from my car. So I feel like if I see them when I'm walking towards the pickup, because it's usually by the stores, it's not usually by the houses where I'm delivering to, I could just, on my way into the store, or even on my way back to the car, if I park close enough or whatever, I could just be like, here, it wouldn't be that complicated to just give somebody a little bit. Like pre-planning something like that wouldn't be that hard. And then when I heard somebody talking about, I mean, I saw the giving with the videos, but when I heard somebody talking about, what is it? When I heard somebody talking about, like avoiding sexual things, that to me isn't really like, I don't know, that's neither here nor there, but I mean, avoiding profanity, avoiding, lying, avoiding, I think they said backstabbing, like, just the things that you're not really supposed to do anyways, avoiding those kind of things, because there's no need to do them, and it doesn't really help anybody necessarily. He said, like, it's a practice during this 1 month for the other 11 months. And so just focusing on it like that, like, it's a month of practicing things that aren't really easy to give up. I know Catholics with Lent do that, but I feel like this is a more extreme version, because you're not only giving up multiple things, not just one thing, as well as giving up food during the times when you're likely going to be eating it. It's not that you don't eat, it's just that you're not eating when it's convenient. You're eating outside of a convenient time, and you kind of just have to figure life out. And then someone else mentioned too, like, getting more connected with hunger, like the sympathy of other people who might be starving and hungry, and me doing something like this as an experiment, and just have the experience of it and seeing what happens. I know at any point in time, any of these seconds, any second, I was near my car all day that had a granola bar and multiple waters in there. So even if my car broke down, I still would have had something. If it broke down, I likely would have been somewhere in the city that was walking distance to a gas station or a store or a restaurant. I have money. I could have bought anything, not like anything like that, but I could have bought a meal. So even if I had no car, if I was waiting for a tow truck, I could still get a meal. Even if it was breaking a fast, I could have broken the fast at any time if the hunger was the issue that was really in the way. It's not like I'm in some remote place with no car, with no food, with no money, and then like having to like wait on someone else or whatever. There was none of that. I could have gone, or at home I can eat anytime I want, you know. Even if the food's not always healthy, we have food all the time. We have snacks all the time. So any of that could have been eaten. So, you know, for my position, the eating is completely easy access. So I don't even know why it's even like something to even think about, because it's just there. You know, everything is just like there at my fingertips. It's not like, oh, I need to break the fast and I have to go like milk animals and like slaughter something and clean it, or go fishing and catch something, or foraging or hunting. It's like the food is like right there already, and all I have to do, I can even eat it cold. Like, I don't even have to heat up stuff, you know. So it's really not that big of a deal. I'm gonna have to figure out this internet thing, screen time and all that, because I've developed quite an online life with hobbies and creative activities and all kinds of things being online. And you know, I do get distracted, and I'm trying to figure out, you know, I got to get that app, that Opal app, but I need to kind of figure out more about it. I can't just like block everything, because before I was kind of considering getting like one of those kosher phone apps, but I was like, I don't really want to block everything. It's not the content itself necessarily. It's just the connection to the content. Just the constant distractions. Like, even when I go on my phone sometimes and I'm like, oh, I'm going to look this up. Like, I'll go on YouTube and it can be specifically like, oh, I want to watch something about somebody explaining this about the Quran, or somebody explaining this about God, or somebody explaining, like, whatever it is that I go on there to look up. And there's already stuff recommended, and I'll just lose track of why I was even on there, you know. And I'm getting better at catching myself, but it's like, you know, it's hard to kind of focus. There's just so much that like grabs the attention. I don't think it's all that healthy, but what are you gonna do? But I do want to make some changes with it. I need to figure it out. I mean, this recording is mostly about my experience. I wanted it to be more about the prayer and the eating, but I'm finding that that's kind of the least of the issues. I mean, the prayer and the eating is just opening up a world, showing all the other stuff. It's not necessarily, at least for me, the prayer, you know, like, I'm not in the middle of like giving lectures and presentations to a place where like I can't do the prayers near the time. I'm not, you know, a person who doesn't wake up early. I'm not a person who, you know, can't make the times. Like, I haven't been on time for any of them, but, you know, I'm near the time, and it's not like I can't fit in 5 prayers a day, especially with the ones I'm doing. They're not lengthy at all. They're super quick. And so it's not really, I don't even think, the longest thing I did was reading some of Psalm 78, and I saw that it was like more than 2 pages long, and I didn't even read the whole thing. I just read a little bit of one column. I didn't even finish one column of it. And so, and that was the longest I took, and it involved lighting some incense and, finding the passage and like reading it. That took about 3 minutes. The other ones, I don't think it even took me like a minute. So it's really not even taking me that long. I'm not even doing like long prayers. It's just like step away, do the prayer, jump back into whatever I was doing. It's kind of like training, going through the motions, sampling it. I'm not even really doing like long prayers. They've all been like memorized stuff, other than the Psalm 78 thing. All the other ones were just, I was like, I don't even know what to pray. So I was just like, let me just do the first ones that come to mind. And it's just by memory. And so that's not really an issue. It's not an inconvenience. I'll be honest, it's not an inconvenience. It's weird to try to like think about the times and to arrange myself around it and stuff, but it's not hard. It's hard in a way, it's hard, but it's not actually like hard. The prayers I'm doing aren't hard. They're memorized. I don't even really need a book. I just chose at the end to do something different. And then when it comes to the eating, like I said, I have so much easy access to food. In my head, it's an issue. The pain situation might be an issue. Mostly it was the thirst. It wasn't the food. I was thirsty far before. I don't even think I actually got hungry. Like, I wanted to eat, but I don't think I actually got hungry yet. I really don't think I got hungry. I think just my body was like, you need to have some kind of vitamins and nourishment, like my body was deficient, and I think the pain was like telling me like, hey, you're deficient, you need to eat. That's why the pain was flaring up. But I don't think I didn't feel like grumbling hunger. I was actually looking forward to like not eating and doing some reading, or that's why I got those bugs. I was totally into the idea of like reading and stuff. I just spent over an hour like banging out an article. I wanted to get more stuff done today, but once I ate and dealt with all the pain and stuff, that kind of made things take a different turn, and I wasn't really as productive after that at all. But yeah, definitely a good experience. I'll be trying to continue tomorrow. I don't really know what to do. I'm just gonna go by my own plans. I'm gonna go by my timers, and when my timers go off, I'm gonna try and do the prayer of some kind of praying, and then try and eat while the sun is not out. And if the pain returns, or if there's some other situation, illness related, I'll have to figure that out. But at the moment, I feel fine. I'm just tired from the melatonin, so but yeah, the mind-body connection is definitely it's I don't know. It interests me. It's just too late, honestly, to be talking about this kind of stuff right now. So, I'll dive in Tuesday, see what happens. This is going to be a lengthy episode, guys, because I rambled at the end here. But, that's the experience for today. Day one. It's been filled a full day of an experience that I don't think I'll ever forget. All right, guys, on to the last day.